El Jefe de Pancho. Hello, you're listening to Unrelenting episode 102. It's the podcast that takes about 100 episodes to grow on you, so you're right about where you need to be. He's Gene. He's Evan O'Lock's Bagel. I'm Darren. I'm not
I am
having anything right now. I just got not really covered with Gatorade, but I just got a Gatorade shower. Well, the wife went and picked up some groceries a couple of days ago, and then she was like, well, something's leaking here, and I saw her doing something with like a Gatorade bottle, so I figured one of the bottles, maybe, there was a pinhole or something to it. Doing that over by the sink, that's fine. But so I go to grab a Gatorade for the show, so when I need to take my pills during the show, I'll have it. And I pull the first Gatorade out, and I do like a shake, and the next thing I know, there's Gatorade on me, and I notice that the cap is like crooked and not on, and I'm like, did you fucking put a Gatorade back in the... Yeah.
Now, when you say Gatorade, are you referring to the Gatorade Zero?
No, those would be horrible. I mean, I know these things are
they're awesome. You're telling me you're drinking like basically sugar water Gatorade?
Yes. Well, this was
horrible for you.
Yes, it is. But I only drink it when under the weather, and I had a bit of a stomach bug on. It came on, and I'm guessing it maybe was a precursor. Monday when I had a migraine right before doing Planet Rage. So go to bed Monday night, wake up Tuesday at like...
You're raging out too much.
Yes. Woke up at like 1 a.m. the first time, and my stomach was just a little off, and I'm like, wow, I feel a little bit nauseous. And then 3:30, man, I'm throwing up. So much fun. And then it was just, a day of sleeping, and I had this low-grade fever, but I didn't eat anything for a day. I'm like, how did Gene do this for 10, 12, whatever days you did it? And I was just pumping in the fluids, and part of that I figured, well, when you're not eating any food, then maybe the sugar helps a little bit to sustain with a little...
God, no. That's the last thing you want.
It's probably horrible. Maybe that helped me sleep, though, for the whole day, because it was like, kind of like drink some Gatorade. And I went a whole day without caffeine, and then that makes me paranoid because I know...
God. Well, you can't do that.
I know, but it's like I couldn't really keep anything down, so then the next day...
You're doing literally the opposite. What you should have been doing is drinking black coffee.
Probably, yeah.
Not Gatorade full of sugar. When you eat nothing at all, the absorption rate of sugar
is like,
out of soft drinks is about 2 seconds.
It's there.
I mean, it literally, the minute it goes past your throat and hits your stomach, it's in your bloodstream and all of it. And then about 15, 20 minutes later, it's all gone.
Gone.
And then you just fall like a rock.
That's why I was sleeping. I was like, damn tired. Then with no caffeine. And then it was Wednesday. I woke up, was still feeling like crap. And it was probably a combo platter of being a little bit dehydrated, having whatever this stomach bug is, then having no food, and then having no caffeine. So then Wednesday was kind of like trying to get back to somewhat normal.
You got to keep an emergency Lox bagel in the fridge at all times.
Obviously, that would seem to be very wise.
It's the omega-3 fats coming from the salmon.
Was this one delivered to your home, or was it delivered to a neighbor's who had to bring it over? It's the usual Gene way.
I made it myself.
Wow.
Using bagels that my New York guy sent.
Well, you got to get them from New York. It's where the water's. That's about the only good thing coming out of New York now.
Yeah. Well, and I actually told you I went to see my heart guy, and as soon as I walk, and he's from New York, by the way, so he's a
Jewish doctor too, then?
Yeah. He's a Jewish doctor. He brought the bagels.
Well, and I like this guy. So you just show up to a cardiologist appointment, and they're like, well, you need some carbs, son. Here, have a bag of bagels.
Exactly.
He's getting himself some... This is like a dentist giving away extra candy when the kid's getting out of the chair.
Before he even said a damn word about me or my heart, we spent about 20 minutes talking about guns.
I like doctors like that.
And how fun they are.
They are fun.
And how he bought his 9-year-old son, snuck it past without telling his wife he bought him a Red Ryder BB gun.
Wow, that takes you right. Did they just watch that right? Christmas movie? That was what was. Whoa,
you're gonna shoot your eye out.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Yep.
They don't want to do that with the BB gun. Don't want to do it at all. But yeah,
no,
guns are fun. That. You learn responsibility.
So it was pretty funny. And my appointment was his last one before lunch. So we literally ended up sitting there quetching for like 45 minutes. And usually a doctor's appointment lasts about, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. That's what my cardiologist was.
He would not shut up.
Boom. Like we have a kindred spirit right here.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And I wanted to get another CAT scan done. So I told him, he said, yeah, I'll figure out a reason for it.
We'll find out something.
Yeah.
I'll put down you have ball cancer here, and then we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. People give me shit for having doctors that actually listen to what I tell them, which I guess in this day and age is a rarity. But that's usually how my doctors, work with me. It's like I figure out what, based on the symptoms, I do my own analysis, figure out what the appropriate treatment is, then tell the doctor, and then he writes a script. That's how it should be.
He just confirms what you think you've got.
Mm-hmm.
But I told you that's how our MD was. And the only reason he ever brought up the guns was we went in for a 6-month checkup.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife and I both have the same doctor. So when it's nothing, no big deal. It's like, we'll just go in both at the same time. It's even quicker that way.
Mm-hmm.
And she was wearing a Sig Sauer t-shirt. And he looked at that and he's like, oh, which one you got? And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this. And it's like, okay, it's gun talk at the doctor's office.
Exactly.
Because doctors know guns don't kill people. Psychotic people do.
It's exactly what we talked about. It's like, there's no gun epidemic. There's a lack of mental institution epidemic.
And if some crazy person who has that lack of a mental ability pulls out a gun, what do you want your choices to be? Just stand there and get shot or be able to protect yourself?
Exactly.
I can never understand the people on the other side of this who cannot comprehend. It's like, well, they believe there's some magical world where you'll be able to keep the guns out of the hands of the psychos. And it's like, well, you do that and then talk to me about getting rid of my gun. If you can go in and if you can go sweep the city of Chicago and remove every gun from Chicago.
There's a sign on the side of the building that says gun-free zone. Don't you know?
It's enough. That's enough. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's the insanity of believing that you can do things that are undoable.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to keep people from wanting to commit crimes. And what we're seeing now with the lack of prosecution and the drop in the overall number of police and everything is that when people realize the percentage that you're going to get away with the crime, it keeps growing higher and higher. The more crimes actually get committed. And nobody wants to admit that either on the left, which is if you have a higher enforcement and people feel like they're going to get caught, even the people that would otherwise, hey, I'd like to go rob this 7-Eleven, but I don't want to do time.
Yep.
When you take away that punishment aspect of it or make it like, well, you know what? There's only like a 5% chance. The murders in Chicago right now, I think it's well under 50% solved rate. Well under.
I think in Chicago, you have a better chance of getting murdered than you do of having the police apprehend you.
If you commit a murder, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That would seem accurate. Way better to be the murderer than the murderee.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you have a bagel or not.
No, I'm almost done eating the bagel. But I just had to.
Well, you're getting ready.
Bagel. I have a long drive today.
Yeah, you're going down to the border. I hear that you're going alone, though, now. Is that true?
Yeah, well, I'll meet up with some folks down there, but
the Klan, the Texas Klan.
Yeah. So I was hanging out with the Texas Klan boys yesterday. And
they're a game Klan, folks. They're not the Klan you're thinking.
Yeah. It's come on, people. I have a black friend that I do a podcast with. Even come on, how could I possibly be in anything other than the gaming Klan?
If Gene were in that Klan, he would look like Cartman in the outfit. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
And CSB already told me that you did a episode of Sir Gene Speaks with your black friend, and you admitted that you were born in Mother Russia during that episode.
Correct. Which I think I admitted on every podcast I've ever done.
This is heartbreaking. Yeah. No, this is heartbreaking news. We're breaking this here. This is an exclusive that is exposing the exclusive that you put on another show that you did like for the 40th time. Very exclusive.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure that I even told CSB once directly when he asked me, he's like, well, where were you born? I was like, well, dude, in Russia. I wasn't born in the fucking US. That's pretty obvious.
Like I was born in a hospital. Or were you? I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was in the middle of a field. I think I was. Yeah, no, it's out in the country, picking grain, picking rye, and just pooped right out of my mom. It'll happen.
I was born in the hospital.
See? Heartbreaking news right here on Unrelenting.
Yep.
It's an intriguing show today.
Yeah, and I think that, did you listen perchance to that Sir Gene Speaks episode?
I have not as of yet. I mean, I was puking my guts out and then couldn't keep food down.
It's a perfect time to listen. But I don't know.
The exact way you want to listen to
Sir Gene reaction, regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it was pretty good. I actually enjoyed the conversation a lot because it did not, it wasn't a repeat of all the normal topics that like Ben and I or you and I talk about.
Is this your MoFax? I mean, I hear MoFax is winding down now. So is that you're going to try to fill that space?
I have I never really got into listening to MoFax.
Was this podcast called Gene's One Black Friend?
Gene's One Black Friend, yes.
That would be a great podcast title.
Exactly. I have a plenty of black friends. Not all of them want to do podcasts, though.
And not many of them want to admit that they're your friend. So it all works out.
Well, fair enough. I'm not sure this one would admit it either, but no, it was an interesting episode. And at the end of it, because I think it went over 2 hours, frankly. And so we had to wrap up. And at the end, he says, oh, man, we didn't even get to talk about prepper stuff that I want to talk about. I'm like, okay, that'll be next episode. We'll have to do another one then.
Well, yeah, you are the prepper guy. Has he seen your garage?
Has anybody seen my garage?
I don't know how highly guarded this is.
Yes, as CSB likes to say, it's classified.
Always. Yeah, you don't want to know what's in there. A lot of ponchos and boat shoes. I don't know how they go together.
You're not wrong. Yes, I have anchors. I have probably 15 fishing rods in there.
He's got a boat, but he's nowhere near the water.
I used to have a boat.
See?
No longer have a boat.
And he had an alligator that he used to keep chained up on the boat named Elvis.
Yeah. I wonder whatever happened to Elvis.
The 80s.
It's a reference to an 80s TV show for all you youngsters out there called Miami Vice.
And I don't see my buddy DigiGuru in the troll room. But I was going to do a very long-standing bit because it was brought up on this show and maybe to a lesser amount on Planet Rage or Grumpy Old Ben's. But everybody was like, you got to watch Idiocracy, man. You got to watch Idiocracy.
Oh, yeah.
So while I was sick, I popped it up. And that is 75 fucking minutes of my life I'm never getting back. That was one of the worst.
Movie. What are you talking about?
That was one of the worst movies ever made. And it wasn't even like so bad that it was good. It was just bad.
It was not bad. It was great. What are you talking about?
It was so bad. I'm coming after you, DigiGuru. That was not.
You're nuts, dude. I think you have to rewatch it when you're not sick because everybody knows it's an awesome movie. The opening sequence alone with Fuddruckers slowly becoming buttfuckers is perfect.
I mean, that explains the movie in a nutshell. And I only like the slapstick kind of humor when it's done well. Because I was thinking about that.
What are you talking about? It's not a comedy.
Oh, wait. I'm totally misunderstanding it then.
What did you watch? That's what I'd like to know. Because it clearly wasn't this documentary movie.
I mean, I'm not saying that the performances from some of the actors and actresses.
That's literally the Costco that I'm a member of now. That's the one I go to.
It looks
the
like
one that's in the movie. It was shot right here.
I mean, I can see Terry Crews as the president of the United States. That I can see.
Terry Crews is currently running for the president of the United States. I don't know if you saw.
No, I didn't. He would work.
He is. Look it up. Google Terry Crews, president of the United States.
The life art imitation, all of that. Oh, now Gigi Guru shows up. See, now he heard us talking about him and this horrendous movie. And I mean, Maya Rudolph is funny, but couldn't you found a little bit better eye candy for that role? That would have been nice. I like Sarah Rue. Is that her name? She's also very funny, but I don't like the overall dumbed down stuff. I like stuff with a little more of an edge.
A little more of an edge.
Yeah.
The whole point of the movie is that the direction we're heading, that is the edge.
That we're going over that edge.
Uh-huh.
But it was just too dumb.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, man.
Speaking of Gatorade, putting Gatorade on the crops, it was like this was a perfect movie to be watching while just capacitated.
As you're sitting there drinking Gatorade with drool on your shirt and vomit, watching a movie about people that, have a little bit of drool on their shirts. I don't know, man. I think you need to rewatch it when you're not inebriated by some kind of disease, and then get a better take on it, because it is a great movie. It's I think it's won a couple of documentary awards for doing the best job predicting the future of any movie ever made.
I mean, it's no Blazing Saddles. Let's be honest.
Certainly way better at predicting than 2001: A Space Odyssey.
But it was just one long bit that never got funnier. Kind of like this show, I guess.
Okay. I don't know. I honestly, I just don't know what to tell you, dude. I
mean, I like Mike Judge stuff, but no, this just didn't grab me. This on the list of Mike Judge still goes Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, all of the music, actual documentary stuff that he did, the Tales from the Tour Bus, and then this. This would go at the bottom of the list. I mean, I like Dax Shepard. I like Luke Wilson. I don't have a problem with anybody that was in the movie. It was just too dumb, which I get was kind of the point, but it was just too dumb to even be dumb. No, Office Space. Now that was a good movie, Jay Finley. We're talking about Idiocracy. Office Space. Now that, see, the jokes in Office Space, there were jokes and they landed.
Yeah,
Michael
you know
Bolton.
The main difference between Office Space and this movie?
Intelligence.
Jennifer Aniston. That's why you like it.
Oh, it's not, because I'm not even a big Jennifer Aniston fan.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, I was more of a Jennifer Aniston fan before the face morphed into what it is today.
Well, yeah, I mean, she shouldn't have done the work. I think that a lot of these women, they get caught up in my collagen is all melting away from my face. I'm getting frown lines. What do I do? What you don't do is kill off all the nerve endings in your face and then put in plastic instead of collagen.
Yeah, that's
then
bad.
You look like a fucking plastic mannequin that somebody who doesn't know how to sculpt made.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
The amount, the number of women who were attractive, like naturally attractive, not through makeup, but that had good bone structure. They had symmetric looking face. There's nothing wrong with aging, and you can do if you adjust to the age that your body actually is, you can make yourself look good at any age. But they all seem to want to harken back to their 20s.
Right.
And I get it. I mean, that's clearly when they were getting the most attention from men.
And making the most money if you're an actress and all that.
I mean, I don't think they usually make the most until they're in their 30s. Because if you look at the top paid actresses over the last 30 years, most of them certainly started acting when they were in their 20s, but they didn't get the big salaries till they hit 30. So, like Julia Roberts, back when she peaked, that was in the early 30s.
Yeah, I never got the Julia Roberts thing either.
Okay. Now you're starting to worry me.
I totally forgot that Mike Judge also did Silicon Valley, which that is right up there with Beavis and Butthead.
Which is Silicon Valley was great.
I've got the whole set of their Funko Pop sitting behind me up on top of the cabinet. Dinesh and what was the skinny coder's name? He was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, he was in Freaks and Geeks when he was a teenager. Yeah.
Yes.
I can't remember his actual name though, the actor's name, but he always plays this deadpan, like I'm way smarter than you character.
Yes.
Which he's
so like
does a very accurate job of that, because I've met one or two of those in my life.
You may be one or two of those in your life. Well, have you met Ryan Bemrose by any chance?
Yeah. Have I met Ryan Bemrose?
You may have taken him out for
believe
sushi.
You introduced us one time.
Yes, I believe so.
Guilfoyle
in the show.
Guilfoyle is the character, but what's the actor's name? He was also really good.
Martin Starr.
Yeah. He was in that catering show. He was great in that.
Oh yes, yeah, the one with
what's it called?
With the guy from
the guy with the thing with the deal and the girl.
Parks and Rec, right?
That guy. Yeah, it was great.
And they just re-upped that. It was very weird that they did
it
that.
Was
Party
not
Down.
As good. I kind of Party Down. The first two seasons were really good. That was from like 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah, 2009.
And then they decided to do a one more season about 2 years ago or a year ago.
Oh, somebody's texting you.
It was interesting. Yeah, it's probably just people wondering when I'm going to be on my trip here.
The clan is texting.
And it's literally the messages. Any idea what time you want to head out? Yeah.
You're like, I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a professional.
Exactly. There we go. All right. So let me turn off the sound on this stuff so it's not interrupt us anymore.
And yeah, Silicon Valley did lose a little bit of the momentum that it had in the later seasons.
It went a little too long. Yeah, I totally think so. Now, the guy who was the main character of Silicon Valley,
the pervert,
who I thought was a pretty crappy actor. The what?
The pervert, Thomas Middleditch. Didn't something come out about him?
Middlebrook.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I thought something came out. Yeah, weird about his personal life.
What's interesting is he's now a video game streamer.
Really? That's his. So he's a Twitch guy now.
I think he's made like 40 million off of that show, and he doesn't have to work, and he just plays video games and streams now.
So I just need to write a show and then be done with it.
You need to do some work. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, if you started doing work, you might be done with it. Yes.
Damn it! What? I didn't know.
Instead of playing at being a radio DJ.
I know. I had jobs. You know, it was a thing.
Well, we've all had jobs.
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. I
had two people I know get laid off last week.
I believe it.
Something in the water?
There's a lot of weird stuff in the water right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about that. But I had I just did some custom framing, before I was puking my guts out. This was the first time I ever ordered, just the kit from an online thing. So it's like, okay, you guys cut the matting and everything else. And it's like, really, all you got to do is use a little bit of that linen tape to hold it. And then, you put it in the frame. It's not that difficult.
Okay.
But the photo was another one of these Peter Max photos of that one pop star. And I'm like, there was a kid when I first started doing the websites back in like 1995 or whatever that was. There was a kid that was like just coming out of high school that had like taken code off one of my things. And then we started talking back and forth. He was doing a Reba McEntire website and I was doing another country artist website.
Yeah.
And he was like
Reba
Reba
porn websites.
Yeah, he was like a Reba. That was before that. I mean, I realized there was a brief, interlude there where I'm like, well, who would I rather work with?
Yeah.
And then I realized they're all a pain in the ass.
Michael Jackson.
Yes, kind of. That this kid was the biggest Reba McEntire fan in the world, where it was kind of like it seemed a little weird. Yeah. And then it was a few years later, this image of Taylor Swift, he was working for her record label then at the time and took the photo, which it's like, I thought that was a little weird, but it's like, okay, there's a cool thing to put on your resume.
Yeah.
So I was framing this thing up and I'm like, I wonder whatever happened to this kid. And I looked him up. It's like, he's Reba McEntire's manager now.
Oh, wow.
Like, this is a weird world.
Well, she's like 70 now. So what's he managing?
Well, she still has a career, unlike a lot of people.
Does she?
Well, she's still on. Now she's on that television show, The Voice. She's
really?
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
She is still
Boy George.
She is still going strong. Reba.
I thought she was pretty good, but I thought she dragged on way longer than she ought to have. I think she was pretty good for about 5 years. And then every other song sounds like every other previous song.
There are a lot of country artists that are like that.
Yeah. And then, let's move on. That's fine.
It's like, we've heard what you can do.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson. I mean, why are you still doing this at 90 or whatever he is?
Well, I don't know that he's had any new songs for a while.
No, dude, he still releases like 2 or 3 albums a year.
Like new brand new music, not just Willie plays the classics.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't necessarily write all of the songs, but he still will record new songs. He just did his first bluegrass album within the last year. It was like it was like the first album that he didn't play his trigger guitar because you don't play
really? Wow.
Yeah. So Willie's still trying new things. So I will give him credit for that.
Well, and Willie is a perfect example of how if you smoke enough pot, your cells will just like
never die.
Yeah, basically.
There's what if you only smoke a little pot, it's going to kill you and it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's unique in that, like, he never gatewayed. Like, it wasn't a gateway drug for him.
Now, he did back in the early, I'm assuming, I need to do more research on this because I haven't really done the deep dive like I did with the Rat Pack back in the day. But I know the Willies and the Waylon and Johnny Cash. And
Waylon,
Christopherson,
he was a total alcoholic,
and cocaine, and there was all of that. I think Willie
dabbled in the 80s. Everybody did cocaine. Nobody didn't do cocaine. Come on, let's get on.
I think Willie dabbled with all that, but then decided, I think Willie got to the point in the 80s where he's like, I'm just going to do weed, and he did a lot of it.
The only guy that didn't was Chris. Chris never. He was a non-drug using country musician.
That is a rarity.
Yeah.
Which I guess means one of the other
reasons. And he had maybe his longevity. Some massive arguments with Waylon back in the day.
Which I can understand. I mean, especially when you're working together. They toured together with the Highwaymen. And it's like any of these rock and roll bands. There's a lot of stories of bands that break up because, one of them's not showing up.
Yeah, it's personality crap. But,
yes.
But also, I would say Waylon was a much better singer than Chris.
Oh, Waylon was the man. Waylon's voice, from the minute I first heard that, I gravitated towards Waylon and Johnny Cash more than any other singers, just because they were so unique.
It was a group of 4 successful musicians, 3 of whom had unique voices.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Willie, too.
And Chris.
Yeah. And Chris. Yeah. Who was a hell of a songwriter. So you need that, too.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the story of Chris Christopherson is just awesome that he, is in Nashville and he's sweeping the floors at the recording studio and Johnny Cash is like, maybe you should be doing something better than that. It's like, that's, but you got to work your way up. I mean, that was the good old days when you had to work your way up rather than put yourself on YouTube or TikTok.
Working your way up is turning your phone on these days.
Well, the intriguing thing I wonder if there's been a, settlement yet. Universal Music and TikTok were going to war, which is quite interesting. The news stories are like, well, Taylor Swift and there was another artist, I forget whether it was Beyonce or something like that. Oh, their music may soon be pulled from TikTok. And it's like, It's Universal fucking Music. They own like 60% of the music catalog of the world. So yeah, while Taylor Swift is big, this is like more than half of the world's music catalog is going to be pulled. It's way bigger than one or two artists.
It's actually less than 1 year's payment for Elon Musk.
Well, Elon's your bud.
Universal Music's only worth $39 billion.
I know. But the music business is not what it used to be. Because piracy, because there's so many other choices, because anybody can just turn on a stream with all of the, I mean, I don't even understand the concept anymore of how artists make the money when so many people listen to this. YouTube Music, for instance. You and I pay because we watch enough YouTube videos where we don't want to see ads. With that, you get YouTube Music, and they have the whole Taylor Swift collection. They have almost any artist you're going to want to listen to. They probably have the songs, the whole albums that you want on YouTube. So you just fire that up, you put in what you want to listen to, and you're listening to it. So how do you think that these artists are getting accurately paid? And in the old days, if you and I wanted to listen to an album once, you had to buy the fucking album. And that was $10 or whatever it was.
For 2023, TikTok had a market cap of $200 billion. They could just buy Universal.
They should.
Well, I mean, it's cheaper for them to use it for free, but
this is
buy Universal.
Well, I don't know how long this deal was, but they had made a deal. My guess would be 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when TikTok was nothing.
Hey, we'll get your artists out there for free, so that their music's heard by a lot more people. And you can report that as plays.
Correct. And Universal was like, well, we'll pay, here's the licensing, you'll pay us. And the traffic at that point was next to nothing. So Universal's like, well, we'd rather take, $5 million from these idiots who are probably going to fail anyway. And now that TikTok is so big, Universal's like, wait, give us the money. And they're then mad that companies like TikTok are going, well, we could just institute a new AI thing that'll just create music on the fly for people so they don't have to use your music.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like nobody really cares. These things are interchangeable. That's why it's interesting even watching some of these schlocky Hallmark movies when the music, you're like, you know what? This either sounds really like Taylor Swift or it really sounds like, Tom Petty, whoever it is. Your brain goes, this is a Tom Petty song, but it's not Tom Petty. It's just somebody trying really hard to do the style and sound of Tom Petty. And it's like, well, this is how they save the money because it still adds the ambiance that they want without going straight out and paying the fees that they need to get the actual songs maybe that they would like.
Yep. And somebody asked, Alvaro asked on X, hey, how come you're not streaming the Unrelenting on X? And so I had to explain that since I moved everything to the Mac, I still need to set up the software to be able to stream to X from the Mac. It's all doable. I just haven't gotten around to it.
And
once I set that up, then it'll go.
And I really should just pay the $8 a month so I can just add that stream to the
to
the streamdoms.
Absolutely.
It's inertia. It's hard. I got to do work.
It's you got to do work. But I don't know. I've been gaining some more folks following on X, which is good. I can't remember how many I need to get to. It's
before you get the free locked
5,000 or something. No, before you can set up monetization, because right now there's no monetization available. So you have to get to, I think it's 5,000 or something, and then you can turn on monetization.
I've got only 3,200 followers, man. That's nothing. I had more on the Fetty, but then that got all ganked and yanked.
Well, I had 222 or 2,300 on Fetty before this whole thing, the shutdown happened. And it doesn't even matter how many people clicked on the button to follow on the Fetty. Realistically, the interaction, the comments, the questions, anything that came in was basically from the same 25 people every time.
Yeah. Well,
so,
like with
limited.
X, there are a lot of people that sign up for an account. They will follow you, and then they never open up the app ever again.
Exactly. And now I don't mind if they do that for following the actual podcast. I don't care if people listen as long as they're still signed up.
Yes. Yes, because you just want the numbers.
Exactly. Because the numbers, as long as your phone is downloading it, who cares if you're listening?
Well, it depends on how it is all, depends how it's all monetized. And it's interesting to me, the immediate switch that goes, at least in my mind, when things like ads start showing up. Because there was a guy, I've mentioned it before, doing videos about all the Lego shit, and the wife loves the Lego.
Yeah.
And he had a big Lego city in his house, and it was like, oh, it was kind of cute that this was his, gig, that he was building this stuff. And the guy goes by the name Brixie. And it always annoys me because he comes onto the show and he's like, hi, Jordan here. It's like, but no, if your fucking name for the show is Brixie, then you use that because it's branding, moron.
Mm-hmm.
But the dude is going like all Marquez Brownlee, even though he does not have that kind of a following.
Yeah.
Because he just went and bought a 400,000, I don't know if that's Canadian or US money, studio space in a, commercial park somewhere. And he's moving his stuff out, which is fine. But all of a sudden the videos halfway through, well, let me tell you about Harry's razors. And it's like, go fuck yourself.
They suck.
Right. But it's like, why? You know what? Your average audience, sorry that I'm included in this, but your average audience is probably 15-year-olds or something that are playing with Legos. What age plays with Lego normally now? I guess it's a wider range than it maybe used to be, but it's like you're overall dealing with something. And the first ad that he did that was, house where he's talking was for some mental health services. And it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I can't even imagine that. I mean, can you imagine unrelenting just halfway through? And I'm like, hey, everybody, let me start telling you. Do you ever feel like you're feeling down and out? You can go over to genestherapy.com and use the coupon code, you're nuts.
You're nuts. Yeah, exactly.
For an extra 30% off.
Yeah, it's just $3 a minute.
It is. It's what I don't know if it's $3 a minute, but I'm sure they charge you per minute because they're like, well, we can do phone calls, we can do the video calls and all that. Get a therapist online, which I don't think I want to do that, but
this is too funny.
Yes,
totally unrelated, but I was just reading while you were talking about something. And,
this is how this show works. I ignore what you say, and then
Gavin Newsom apparently was at Target and was accused of shoplifting by an employee who did not recognize him.
Well, was he? I mean, he has. He's the guy
does
behind.
Does he know he have to pay for things when he goes to Target? I'm not sure, man.
I mean, he's seeing what's going on. I kind of feel like that every now and then. Why pay?
It's I haven't been to a Target ever since they started promoting pedophilia, but I guess some people still go there, like Gavin Newsom.
It is a wasteland. I mean, I only go for the Target exclusive Taylor Swift stuff.
No, I'm sure. Yeah. And Target, they've been a past customer of mine a number of times, but I don't think I could take them on again.
Well, it's interesting because they went from being hey, we're trying to help the little guy, and I'm all for it. I'm all for we want to be able to cater to people that are gay or whatever it is that, some people have a real problem with. But then they want to start going in the exact opposite authoritarian direction, meaning, okay, let's say we want to, people get mad, the crazy Christians or whatever it is come in. If they're carrying a book that has gay themes, oh my God, how dare they carry that book? And it's one thing to stand up and say, you know what? We have customers of all sizes and shapes and stripes, whatever it is. But then they get to the point where they're like, well, we're not going to carry that Mark Levin and Bill O'Reilly book because they're too much. It's like, well, no, wait. Well, now you're doing the exact same thing in just the opposite direction. So the thing that you admitted was bad and you started out trying to help out and be like, we want to be inclusive, you very quickly become non-inclusive.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that. Yeah, you got to get the bingo card out, Alvaro, and you can click Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift, although I'm sure you'll mention her again. So apparently Taylor Swift is the enemy number one of MAGA right now, is what I keep reading in magazines.
Yes, and I mean, I was outed as being a part of the Democratic machine out of Chicago.
Yeah.
On No Agenda yesterday.
Well, we know that because that's where you live by choice, not by force. So
I liked it was during the pre-show that somebody said I was a part of the Taylor Swift op that's been being talked about for a long time now on No Agenda. And it was Billy Bones. He's the only one that can see, man. And it scared me that he saw this. He does a Walk Through the Mind podcast. And he said, hey, everybody, what if Taylor Swift is a part of the Darren O'Neill op? You know, I'm like, there you go. Ooh. Uh-huh. Think about that one.
That's extremely unlikely, but sure.
Aren't all of these things, fairly unlikely?
Well, no, we know from Taylor Swift's own mouth that she despises conservatives,
which is why
numerous times.
Which is
she hates her parents who made her what she is.
I was
a successful woman.
Very surprised on yesterday's No Agenda. John C. Dvorak said, "I podcast so much to get Taylor Swift's attention." Because this is exactly the show she would be listening to.
Yeah, because he started off by saying she has no talent, as I recall, in the podcast.
She's listening right now.
Clearly fake made up artist whose parents paid for her to get a music deal.
Right.
Is what I seem to recall. Maybe I'm wrong.
Exactly.
I don't know if my memory serves me right, but
and it has become a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes. John and Adam both kind of making fun of how bad her singing was and how she's like this, teenager, barely 20-something-year-old, and she's telling these professional musicians what they're not doing right. And it's hilarious because, she's a completely fabricated musician whose parents bought everything, which is technically all true. I mean, her parents did make her.
Yeah, welcome to Nashville.
They didn't send her off to Disney slave school like some parents do.
True.
So that you have to give them that.
Which is why she hasn't crashed and burned yet. Because Britney and usually by the time you're hitting your mid-30s, or long before that in some cases.
Certainly, by the time you're in your 30s, your career is pretty much winding down. That is true.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing to me. Nashville, and when she hit, I was listening to a lot of country music, and it was one of those things where it was like, okay, the music's good. It wasn't exactly what I was listening to at the time, but you can tell that she had talent because most people weren't breaking out at that point. Again, this was right before YouTube and social media became huge. So you still had the gatekeepers. You still had a lot of people that were like, we don't want a child act. We don't want this. There were a few other ones at the time, Jessica Andrews and Lila McCann, who were okay, but none of them had staying power. So I think it was quickly becoming with the people at the labels are like, we don't want to hire, we don't want to sign somebody that's going to release an album or two and then die off because, it's not
you want to make a longer term investment. I will say though, as far as actual musical talent, she has one of the most forgettable voices I've ever heard. Very generic, and it's hyper processed.
Oh yeah.
I think the majority of her sort of growth, or whatever you want to call it, comes from the stage shows. And she, for a, extra tall, not particularly skinny chick, she actually moves quite a bit. And I think that a lot of people really come to see a stage performance rather than listen to somebody singing.
Well, she learned from the master, which was Garth Brooks, who self-admittedly, not a great songwriter.
Yeah.
Not a great singer. Not a great guitar player. But damn, he knew how to put on a show.
Like, I think Miley Cyrus has a much better voice.
Oh, Miley can belt him out.
Country?
Yeah.
When she sings country music, every time I've heard her on YouTube singing country, I was like, my God, she's wasted her talent on this pop bullshit. because
and some self-destructive behavior, which means she may come around by the time she's mid-30s to 40, to where she's a serious artist who is going to make some really good music.
Yeah,
because she has talent.
She does. She has talent, even though she went through the Disney pedo machine, which is probably what led her to all the self-destructive behavior, like it does to everybody that goes through the Disney pedo machine.
Well, wait, Cotton Gin, did you just call Billy Ray Cyrus a formerly talented country singer? Because a lot of people would argue that he was never all that talented.
Never.
I think
in the same way. In the same way, I think he, he had some good music videos back in the day before he had the kids, and he certainly made enough as a performer to live a decent life. I don't think he was ever like the best country musician ever.
No, it was Achy Breaky Heart. And then like, what else did he sing? Everybody? They're like, I don't know. He did that Achy Breaky song though, which is all you need.
That was very popular. And it was a line dance. It wasn't just a song. It kind of got the whole, you had to get lined up and do the line dance when that song came on.
Well, and if you have one of those songs that can stand the test of time, and you wrote that song, which is why Sir Bemrose hates the copyright thing. I think I mentioned it on this show before, but it was Chris Christopherson, the guy we were just talking about not that long ago, great songwriter. Yeah. Somebody asked him, it was like 10, 15 years ago, I think, in an article, hey, what does Help Me Make It Through the Night mean to you today? And his answer, without missing a beat, was still about $100,000 a year. You know?
Yeah, isn't it funny how it's always people that have never actually done anything that always hate copyright?
Yeah, true. Because once you have affixed something down, you're like, well, maybe I'd like that to be making me money since I created it. I mean, for most other things, it's like, do you sit there? If you build yourself a chair, Bemrose, and it's a beautiful chair, do you just sit on it for a year or two and then give it away because you no longer have the rights to that chair? No, you don't.
Yeah, or ponchos.
Well, you've got a lot of ponchos.
I'm not going to give them away.
Are you taking them down to the Texas border so you could give the ponchos away?
Actually, yeah. I am. Yeah.
Did you print up like a bunch of mailing stickers that just say Unrelenting, and you could just stick them on every poncho bag? Like, listen to Unrelenting. No,
I kept waiting I thought you were going to send me those. And they haven't showed up, so I'm not going to end up taking any down there with me.
I mean, I can do that. There are places that can easily do that. Just print up the Unrelenting logo, unrelenting.show.
Yeah.
And then you can give those ponchos away.
According to Alex Jones, as of last night, that they're saying there's going to be a large attack at the border today.
So you want to be there for this?
By white nationalists.
The Texas Klan, perhaps?
Yeah, I checked with the Texas Klan. Most of them aren't even going to be there. So I don't know who they're talking about.
Now, if you're listening, comic strip blogger, what I would like is a nice piece of AI art. On the left would be Sir Gene and his group of obvious gamer dudes. And then on the other side, a crowd of actual Klan members. And they're like, wait, you're the Texas Klan? And then hilarity ensues.
What would be even funnier is if we ended up suing them.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah. Sure, but this is just for the comic. I mean, that would be even better.
That would be pretty funny.
You're the Texas Klan. Yeah, I don't know, man. That would be. I think that would be some great album art if you could just pump that together before the end of the show today. CSB
album art. Oh, sounds like an opportunity to me.
Yes, it is. It's an opportunity.
Yes, and maybe someday Darren can learn how to type words and get pictures too.
I mean, hey, anybody can do it. It's just a question of how good the system is that you're using. Yeah, like and you can get some beautiful pictures on the free stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There was, if you look at the No Agenda art generator, there's a one I did yesterday of Taylor Swift, because the Taylor Swift op. But I did her as like a spy in the Cold War era, standing, it looks like, in Moscow. And how quickly this thing can be generated. I do agree with Adam and John. It's very hard to get that kind of artwork that feels like it has, and I know this is so hard to define, but has soul. It is like, okay, well, it's there. It's pretty. The artwork is there, but it is still lacking a certain element that the AI is not able to totally recreate. But I'm sure it will at some point. We'll just all be replaced. Won't need artists. Won't need voiceover actors. Won't need podcasters. Won't need any of that.
Yep. It's coming, man. It is definitely coming because there's no reason to have humans be involved in a lot of these things. There's ultimately, why do people listen to podcasts, right?
Entertainment, enlightenment.
Yeah, exactly. It's a combination of them things.
They want the human connection, I think, also. Mm-hmm. That's always been one of the biggest things.
Do they want the human connection or just something that sounds vaguely human?
I know. I think it is the human connection. I think it is very voyeuristic, which is why a lot of people don't like the one-person shows. I mean, CSB will argue that's not even a podcast, and I'm like, I won't even have that argument anymore. But I get it because you feel like you're listening to somebody that's talking to you. When it's only one person doing a monologue, then you're part of it. You're active. You feel like you're being talked to, where when somebody's listening to this show, they're like, well, I'm just listening to Gene talk to Darren. Yeah. I don't have any responsibility here at all. This is just like I'm sitting at the next table. These two idiots are in the next table having lunch, and I'm kind of amused when I hear what's being said. So I think it is a voyeuristic kind of a thing.
Well, I think it's voyeuristic. I think it's also no different at all, frankly, from conversations that introverts are in
with themselves.
The people that no, they're sitting around a dinner table, or you're somewhere with a group of people, and there's generally 2 or 3 of us that are talking the entire time. And then there's everybody else who's just sitting and looking around and nodding occasionally and maybe saying 1 or 2 words. That's about it. To these people, is there really a difference between being somewhere in person and around people that are having this conversation that are extroverts, or doing it in headphones in front of their computer or while driving a car listening to the speakers? It's the exact same experience for them as being in a group, because the amount of speaking they're doing is about the same.
True. Well, this is why the human race as a whole is having a problem trying to get through this massive change in the way people communicate. You don't have to talk anymore. There's a lot that they only have to type a few letters. If you have to get your response to your boss, you're doing this in a text format. You're not having to have face-to-face communications. I mean, every now and then you might have to. But people are losing that ability to have conversations, to be able to articulate things verbally. It's amazing how many people don't have the ability, including we got Karine Jean-Pierre, who the other day, if you didn't see
paid for it, right?
Just melted down trying to say we feel bad for these families that had soldiers killed and couldn't do it. And it's like, well, this is the spokesperson for the White House. Can't do her job. Can't speak eloquently. Why would you put somebody in the job of spokesperson when they can't speak eloquently? Like, it's very weird.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the concept of people that have the ability to do podcasts, including you and I, even the fabulous Ryan Bemrose, of course, Larry Bleidner, that can speak and get points across, it's not something that is taken for granted anymore. And all of these things, it's all of this deep fake stuff. Of course, it's because now it's Tay-Tay. But all of this deep fake stuff has been around for years. And you and I have talked about this. The fact that this younger generation, it doesn't even matter if somebody blackmails you. It doesn't even matter if the photos or videos are real.
Yeah.
That they can come to you and be like, okay, girl, I made here. Look, this looks like you're in a porn and you're screwing this guy. Ha ha, give me money. And then they kill themselves.
But why would you do that?
People are dicks. I mean, which part?
The killing yourself part.
I don't know.
Frankly, all these, I mean, I see like teenage girls walking around all the time with t-shirts that say porn star.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get this. And then, the boys, it seems it generally happens to, that get fooled into sending an actual nude photo. Then they kill themselves. It's like, why is that worth that? I don't get it.
I don't get it, but
it's bad parenting. It's putting kids into situations that they're not ready for.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think about growing up, and you and I, at the same time period. It's like, well, if you wanted to see, naked chicks, you got to get your hands on a Playboy or a
Sears
Penthouse
catalog.
Or Sears catalog. Well, they weren't full. What were the Sears in Moscow naked chicks? This would be way cooler.
Naked chicks in European standards were different,
That's true. That is true.
No, it's obviously, if you're looking for naked, it wasn't even Playboy. It was really Penthouse. But because Playboy, you'd have like one centerfold that was barely showing anything.
She's like, this ain't
and then
enough.
a bunch of photos. And talk about deepfakes. A lot of those centerfolds were very, very retouched.
Oh, airbrushing. Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah. Airbrushing, like creating a completely different look. Whereas most of the photos in Playboys were just in sexy underwear.
That was the highly paid skill, is you had the airbrusher who was able to.
Yeah.
And I met enough of those girls where I would say about a third of them were truly attractive, and 2/3 you were like, whoa.
You would never notice them in an elevator, most of them. And I've shot a lot of models, including Playboy models, because I used to do photography. And
I thought maybe you were just walking around.
Shooting models. Yeah. No. And that's the thing, is a lot of them, like when they show up to the shoot, when they're not wearing makeup and they're just dressed in stupid clothes that they usually wear, you would literally never look at them twice in an elevator. You'd be looking at the girl next door that was, not in Playboy, but looks cute. But it's a combination of lack of modesty and having a decent enough symmetry in their face that when you slather the makeup on, you can get something that looks pretty good. But it by no means were most of these women just genetically drop dead gorgeous.
No, I mean, there aren't that many in the world, so they kept churning them out. So,
and of course, now if you watch the whatever show, it looks like literally every girl between 20 and 30 thinks she's a 10.
Oh yeah. Well, because they have the filters, and they've grown up on social media, which is why the Senate, was it a Senate committee? I think it was, not a House committee, that went after Zuck again. And
I watched that.
It was.
This is the roughest I've ever seen him. He was not happy.
No, he was not. And he wasn't in his comfort zone.
Nope.
And it was a very unfair.
Oh, he did look more tan. I think living in Hawaii is good for him.
Well, yeah, living in Hawaii is great for everybody until the volcano comes.
Uh-huh.
But
luckily he managed to buy a whole bunch of property for cheap.
Well, and I'm sure he's got helicopters and stuff ready to go. So if the volcano comes, he's zucked right out of there.
He has an under the volcano layer there now as well.
See, now that I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That I believe, but it's very, I don't even know the right word for it. It is very Dimension B. It is like watching your government not understand what they're talking about, because social media, like anything else, is built to keep your attention. Television, radio, anything that we've ever had that was an entertainment style thing is always meant to keep your attention as long as it can, so they can make as much money off of you. It used to be off of advertising. It still is, maybe a little bit. So this is exactly what social media is doing. All of this, the government being very like, we need to talk to you, Mr. Zuckerberg. Your company created this intentionally to keep people on the platform longer. Be like, well, yeah, fuck yeah, that's what we do. I mean, that's the whole.
The problem is that keeping the people that are 13 and under on the platform longer increases the number of pedophile conversations they're having.
Well, this is why children shouldn't be on the fucking internet. And this is what a lot of people won't understand.
Prevent that? You just have to throw your hands up in the air and say, we can't do anything as parents to keep kids off of it.
Right. Well, and that's what is being done. That's what's being done. And I have
literally what's being done. Yeah.
I may do an episode just because O'Reilly did a thing on this yesterday.
I don't know about you, but I had to work hard to get my hands on Playboys when I was 13.
Well, that was my original point.
I didn't have my parents giving me a Playboy and saying, don't look at this, but you can hold on to it.
Yes. No, that was exactly the point we started
when the parents, when the parents give a phone to a 13-year-old, you're giving him the entire internet, not a subset of the internet. And a 13 has no business having a phone anyway.
And that is it. This is what people, and I like Bill O'Reilly for most things. This one he doesn't quite grasp because
there's more than one he doesn't, but sure.
I understand. But in this case, you cannot sanitize the internet. This would be like back in the 80s going, well, you know what? We're going to have to sanitize the strip club so we can bring the 5-year-olds in.
Yeah. We're going to sanitize all music.
Right.
All music has to be child friendly, period.
Right. You can't have any swear words. Even Taylor Swift drops F-bombs in the music now. Mm-hmm. Can't have that. That's not safe for children.
Bill Gore's wife wouldn't like that.
No.
Or Al Gore's wife.
Yeah, I knew it. You meant Tipper. Did anybody Tipper yet?
Gore.
You keep waiting.
Yeah. Is she alive still?
I think so. But this is
back when Democrats wanted to police swear words
in music.
In music. And back when, they were generally against any kind of affirmative action.
Al Gore going against Dee Snider about the song Under the Blade, like, hey, man, it means you want to attack a woman. And Dee Snider's like, fuck you. It's about my buddy going through surgery. I mean, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
I mean, Dee Snider probably should have gotten under the blade.
Maybe. I know he's not a big friendly guy to the conservative side. He's another libo, but it's okay. They're musicians. No.
I mean, dude always looked bizarre.
Yeah.
He could have gotten some good plastic surgery to make himself look better.
He could have looked like Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, when she was 60, yeah.
Maybe that was
when he was in his late 20s, yeah.
But the concept that you have to do something on the internet to protect the children is laughable when you admit the parents can't do it. Because once you say the parents can't do it,
you're going to protect the children on the internet, but then put all the how to suck a cock and lube your ass books into kindergarten.
Right.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes sense. It's insane. It is insane.
It is. It's honestly, the best way to protect your kids is just give them up to an Amish family for the first 18 years of their life. And you get them back on Rumspringa.
And then they go through the same thing, with this, the Swift AI photos that went through, I guess, mainly X.
Yeah.
And they're blaming well, you have no way to control this. I'm like, do you fuckers know what moderating the internet's like? Mm-hmm. How do you plan on doing it? Nobody
and why would they do it in the first place?
Well, because this is illegal content, of course. I'm telling you.
How is it illegal? It's not her picture.
Right.
It's a generated by computer image. It's not illegal.
Yes, I agree. I'm just saying what they're saying it is.
Yeah, I'm saying they're full of shit.
Right. Illegal how? And it's like, but you can't. This is going to a tracking system. And I bet you people will. Adam and John on No Agenda were having this argument yesterday. Adam doesn't think that people will go for this. John thinks that they possibly will. And I'm with John on this because I think.
Go for what?
That people will, providing your ID in order to access the internet. I think people will go along with this. And
here's the thing. I am a big advocate of privacy, but I'm also a big advocate of not letting anonymous accounts on anything that I run. Because if I'm spending my time and or money running a bulletin board or running anything, then the only people I'm going to let on are people who I know who they are.
Makes sense. But people will then say,
if you want to be anonymous,
you're not free speech, dude.
if you want to be anonymous, then go get an Onion browser installed. And then you can play around with being anonymous. And the only people that are going to give a shit or that they're going to be, playing with you
right. Well,
the feds.
Right. The people from the CIA who set up the Tor network.
Exactly. So there's your playing anonymous. So I have no problem with, people wanting privacy in certain aspects of their lives, but privacy can't be expected at the same time as doing public things.
Yes.
It's like, I want to be a porn star who nobody knows who I am.
Right.
Well, that ain't going to work. They'll know very intimately who you are. It's like you can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Well, right.
So if you want to leave shit comments, then be okay with only being in places that no one gives a shit about.
Or you're going to be relegated to a different level. Isn't this what we're seeing with X? Because once you've got your account, once you're verified, once you got your check mark. I only
see the blue check marks comments. I don't bother reading anything else because it's all shit.
And to get the blue check marks now, they verify your identity, correct?
Yep, correct.
Which means I guarantee that the person who put out the Taylor Swift photos didn't have a blue check mark because they would know exactly who it was. And
Yep.
But this is where it is going to start having that breakdown. So I believe people will start doing this like, well, no, I want to elevate myself from that kind of a content. And if it takes, I give my ID, I'll do it. And whether that's good or not, there's a lot of arguments.
It all depends on where you want to be. If you want to be on Reddit, and no sane person does, but if you want to be on Reddit with your fake ID, go for it. If you want to be on 4chan with your pretend anonymous shit, go for it. I have no problem with people that want to play at being anonymous, but there's a reason they want to do that. And that is because they're afraid. They're afraid that something that they say or do or show a picture of is going to get them in trouble.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff.
That's just reality. And you can argue with, well, we shouldn't have to. Yeah, I agree. We shouldn't have to. But guess what? I've always thought the cops don't have a legitimate reason to just ask you for an ID whenever they're walking around you. Like legally, you have to have broken a law or be suspected of breaking a law.
Yeah.
That can be articulated.
But back in the day, man, stop and frisk worked.
Well, in some states, most states ban that practice. But here's the thing. Now, given that we have 10,000 new illegal criminals in Texas every single day, every fucking day, and we're not, I wish we were shipping out 10,000 a day as well. We're not. It's less than that. I am super happy to demonstrate my citizenship to the police officer. I'm like, that doesn't bother me because now there's a good reason for it. The reason is separating myself from the illegals. And it's the same thing with, I think, the blue check mark stuff on Twitter. It used to be when the blue check marks were basically given to liberal writers and it was a political statement. It's
the elitists.
Twitter approves of me and I have a blue check mark, which is bullshit. Now it's totally egalitarian. It's like if you want to be perceived as a human and not a troll on Twitter, you have the blue check mark and it costs a little bit of money, not that much, but you have to prove that you're an actual human and not just a fake dummy account.
And understand that
I have no problem with that either.
And you understand if you post something obviously illegal, like child porn, if you post something libelous, you could be held liable.
Yeah.
And people behave more then.
Their algorithms are not perfect. Like I've gotten a warning for posting something. And then, I brought it to their attention and said, I'm literally forwarding an example of something that ought to be banned on this platform.
We're
I'm not the one putting it out there. I'm because I literally like had their address as like FYI. Why is this still on here, guys? And then they hit me for posting something that's against their terms. It's like, I'm not the one posting it, dude.
Right. They're like, thanks for turning yourself in, sir. It's very nice of you.
Exactly.
Makes our job easy.
Hey, somebody just beat me up. All right, well, we're going to have to arrest you now because clearly you've been involved in a violent incident, and it's probably your fault. Yeah.
Well, that's probably true.
But no, and they corrected it, once I explained it, where the old Twitter just killed my account. The original account I had on Twitter just was killed off. So
but I don't think the people in our Senate or any part of the government understand how many messages and how many accounts there are on these platforms.
Trump does.
Oh, yeah, well, he's not in the government right now.
It's true. Bring
the guy back that knew what was going on.
He's the only octogenarian who understands Twitter.
Yeah, he used it very well. That's for damn sure.
He still used it multiple times a day.
And you can't moderate everything. And especially the interesting thing is a lot of the stuff with the kids that very sadly committed suicide. A lot of this stuff happened in private chats, and this opens up a whole new can of worms for how does Twitter, how does Instagram, Facebook, whoever it is, if you're using a personal messenger within their system, how do they know what's going on? It's like, one, do you think they can moderate that, and even in an automatic way? Do you really think they can automate that? And then people would have again, this is that privacy versus the freedom aspect of things.
Well, one thing they can definitely do, though, is whether it's Twitter or Instagram or any of it, and it's really more Instagram than Twitter, is to block accounts for posting nudity. Because there are so many accounts on Instagram that are nothing more than promotion of OnlyFans.
Right.
That's all they're doing. They're just promoting their OnlyFans.
Well, the internet's all marketing, baby.
Yeah. And I'm old enough to remember when the internet actually had rules against commercial use. You remember that? Were you on that early?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're right.
Where you could lose your domain if you post commercial advertising.
Yes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden there were ads, and then it was off. Banner ads. I mean, I think the rules changed in 94, I believe. They officially got rid of the prohibition on commercial advertising on the internet. Is it sad that we remember that time before there were even banner ads had been invented?
No, I don't think it's sad. I think it's good because a lot of the kids just assume it was always like this. Like they don't think there was ever a beginning of the internet. It was always the internet.
Now there are ads everywhere. There is no way to moderate everything.
No.
And if you're going to give your kid access to the internet, I still say this should be on the parents. And I get where the people like Bill O'Reilly are coming from that are like, well, there's bad parents and they won't do it. And the kids are still going to suffer. And unfortunately, yes, the kids are going to suffer.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Because there is
kids
no
have
way
always
to do
suffered
it.
from bad parenting.
Yes.
It's just the bad parenting keeps changing in its definition.
And how I don't know what the answer is, because I understand that you're going down a different line of reasoning when you start doing things like in the city of Chicago. There are aldermen who want to pass laws that say, if your 12-year-old is out at midnight and assaults somebody, well, the parent goes to jail.
Yeah, I'm out for that.
There is a certain amount of sense to that. If you don't
keep your kids on the leash, then you ought to be responsible for them when it comes to jail time.
Yes. It's like you got to make that answer, I guess, on how responsible parents are for the actions of their kids.
There is another alternative, and that is simply that if the kids at midnight and assault somebody, they're no longer your kid. They become a ward of the state. They're put into a state home, probably some kind of a orphanage run by nuns in Chicago and or in Joliet.
And the Blues Brothers starts all over again.
I wasn't even going there. I don't know what you mean.
That's the greatest movies of all time. Unlike Idiocracy, the Blues Brothers is a classic.
Blues Brothers is a very good movie, but Idiocracy is a great movie.
No, the Blues Brothers way better than Idiocracy.
The Blues Brothers, you have to be high to enjoy. Because the story is absurd.
No, it's not. It's a beautiful story. I watched it the first time when I was 10 years old, and I've never been the same since.
Yeah, that's the first time you got high, huh?
No.
Got it.
it's very interesting. I mean, it's where I started saying things like "fuck." I mean, once you saw the Blues Brothers, man, you learned a lot of new language and a lot of great music too.
Yeah. So, what did you see in the theater?
Yeah, my dad took me.
Well, that explains a lot. Like I said, blame the parents for all the ills of the children. It's pretty obviously, we just confirmed that right there.
Man, then I think I had it on beta back when it came out in like 80, whatever.
My grandma took me to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, did you do the time warp?
That was the craziest shit, man.
Well, it still is.
It still is. I've seen it plenty of times after that. But the first time as a little kid watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I was like, what the fuck? What is this shit?
I don't understand. Why is that man wearing lingerie and he is not pretty?
No. Why is he wearing lingerie and he looks kind of pretty?
Yes. Well, there you go.
I mean, Tim Curry, is that his name? Tim?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. You have to admit that as a, like, for a dude wearing chick clothes, they actually made him look pretty good.
And again,
most other Hollywood actors at the time would look worse in women's clothing.
Yeah, and it was good music also, which also helped.
Oh, the music was very good, yeah. I mean, it's not really my style of music, but it was very good.
Yeah, well, it wasn't mine either, but I still like, even though it's not what I would listen to on a daily basis. Another one was Grease, where the music was just fantastic.
Yeah. Story was very simple, but done well.
Let's be honest, at that point in our lives, especially because we're about the same age, Olivia Newton-John, like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was all sorts of hot. Like, she was an actual let's get physical singer. So, you know.
Yeah, and I think she was one that without
the makeup,
that
song, right?
Still looked, yeah. Yeah, I remember the video. I mean, who remembers the song? It's the video.
Yeah, it's the video of her in the leotard and the bright physical, colors.
Physical. And then Xanadu. I simplest.
She died a few years ago, I think, from cancer.
Yeah, I know. It was sad.
Yeah.
But as Sandy in Grease, man, she brought it.
She surprisingly made a good Sandy because, you know, Sandy's supposed to be this very 1950s clean looking girl.
We all are looking for a clean girl.
Newton-John actually was.
Yeah.
But that's the whole story, right? It's the whole, virgin slut kind of thing.
And then you had the dance offs and, John Travolta was tough.
Yeah,
if you buy into that.
Well, he's Italian,
Ned wants to know if Unrelenting just came out of the closet. Hey, now.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly. Not that there's anything wrong with that. What are you insinuating here, man?
Got 64 on the stream.
Did you see CSB's message, where he said he listened to Sir Gene Speaks and he liked the episode, but unfortunately he couldn't forward the message or promote it because it had the N-word in the title?
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. And I'm like, so are you, as a white man, telling a black man to change his name because you're not comfortable with it? Is that what's going on here?
Yes.
Because it sure sounds like it.
It's like people just get along.
I thought that was pretty damn funny. I was like, dude, I'm not the one who called him that. That's not like my nickname for this dude. That's his literal name on Twitter.
And it's intriguing the way people have reactions to that kind of stuff. There was one of those guys.
And a freaking European. CSB doesn't even live in the United States. How is that at all a sensitive topic for somebody that's from Europe?
I don't know. Right, maybe we can ask Elon. It's something I'm sure in the water.
As a South African, Elon, I think, is immune from all of this.
Oh, he would know, though.
Yeah.
He's got enough money to know.
Well, he's got 56 billion less than he did a few days ago.
Oh, did you bring him some lox and bagels just as a kind of
I should. I know. He hasn't been in his house lately. I've been looking through the binoculars.
But, is it, wow, you're close enough for binoculars? I thought it was at least a telescope.
I've got a pretty good magnification. I just got the new pair of the thermals. Those work even better.
Nice.
Speaking of thermals,
yeah.
So I know this is a little off topic, but you know how I've been using, and you've seen pictures of this, as have some of the folks that have been following me on No Agenda Social in the past, is that I've been using well, it's a thermometer, I guess, but it's like a infrared thermometer that's made for non-kitchen use. I've been using in the kitchen to like test the temperature of the meat without actually touching the meat or sticking anything into it.
But wouldn't that just be the outside of the meat?
It is the outside. Right. But it's a non-invasive way to measure temperature. You can also measure the temperature of the pan before you put something on it. Make sure that it's not too hot and not too cold. That the oil is at the right temperature without, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things that you buy at Home Depot.
Right. It's like a little gun. You pull the trigger and it'll tell you the temperature
thermal gun
of what it's pointing at.
I just picked up the next evolution of that. I just bought a infrared thermal monitor that shows you the different gradations of temperatures in different colors on the entire screen for the same purpose, to replace that one, basically. So instead of having a pinpoint temperature, I now have the temperature of everything. So I can see.
Do you have to put on the Apple goggles to see this?
Of course.
Okay.
You don't have to. But I'll take some photos and or videos, stick it up on X. But now you can see if there's any hot spots in the pan before you start cooking on it. You can see if the whatever you're cooking is cooking evenly, because it shows you not just the one point, but the entire everything that fits in the screen, what the temperature of it is. It's really cool. I'm digging it.
So now when you go out, you can just tell when the chicks are warm for your form.
Yeah, I'm thinking of bringing this with me when I go to restaurants and doing a quick check on the food they bring me.
You're like, this food is only 78.9 degrees.
It's like, I'm sorry, I think you overcooked this. I asked for a blued steak, and this steak is clearly warmer than that right here on this edge. Do you see? I can show you an image.
Gene gets kicked out of various restaurants on the next episode of Unrelenting.
Oh, I'll just put on my Yelp reviewer t-shirt. That way they won't kick me out.
Right. Yes, I'm a professional Yelp reviewer. They're like, fuck you, Google reviews are all that matter now.
No, nobody. That's totally not the case. Google reviews completely don't matter. I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. Google reviews are irrelevant. Well, the only thing that matters is Yelp reviews right now.
I disagree.
They're, in fact, Google, well, you can disagree and be wrong. That's fine. It's totally up to you. But these are multi-million-dollar campaigns that my customer is running. So I'm going to take their word for it rather than yours.
But who goes to look at the Yelp reviews? Now, how many people are still hitting Yelp?
The number, and well, we're going to be switching them off of Google to Yelp literally next week, because what they found is that the Yelp reviews are responsible for 13 times more trust than Google reviews. People assume Google reviews are fake, which they are almost every time.
Well, they should assume Yelp reviews are fake too.
Yelp reviews are much more difficult to be fake.
No.
Because, yes, absolutely. Because you can see what else those same people reviewed. Like, correct. You can click on a person and see what else they reviewed.
Yeah, which 90% of them seem fake. 90% of them seem to have a city that they're from, which is nowhere near the business. And I understand people travel, so I would give you a little bit of leeway.
If you look at my Yelp, you'll see that I've rated restaurants all over the country.
But then you'll also notice that the Yelp, now, if they have a proper AI or a proper algorithm, because there's a few people when it comes to Yelp or any review kind of concept, and yeah, if they're actually humans, that's the question, Bemrose. But if they are human and you think you want to be able to give them some, sustainability, the people that do nothing but give 1-star reviews or 5-star reviews all should just be shadow banned.
Oh, I agree. I almost never give a 5-star or 1-star because if something is really good, it's usually a 4-star or 9 out of 10 because you have to save the perfect score for above and beyond.
Right, because
you can't have a whole bunch of perfect scores.
Otherwise, people get mad like, why'd you only give me 4 stars, man?
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever. They can get mad. I can always change it to 1 star if they get super mad.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, there's a video going around on X right now of a guy who was a delivery driver for groceries that brought groceries. And then when he realized there was no tip from the homeowner, took all the groceries back and canceled her order.
Hey, but they get paid without the tip.
But if you listen to this guy, they don't make any money. They're just getting paid for gasoline, and the tip is the money they make, which is bullshit. But either way, let's see. So that we got that. There's a couple other things that just came in while we're talking here. Judge in the Trump trial, Judge Engeron, is considering a lifetime ban on business for Trump.
Oh,
like he won't be allowed to own any businesses.
That dude should hang.
Trump?
The judge.
Oh, the judge.
That's the Joker-looking fucking judge.
I certainly would never say something like that would put me in jail, but I suppose people with anonymous accounts on X,
if there was any justice in the world, a judge that is dishonest should have consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking hyperbolically.
Yeah, I would stop digging that hole if I were you.
My name is Ryan Bemrose.
Yes, Ryan, you should be careful about all the things that you say in your podcast about being angry and grumpy.
Okay, I'll try to do that.
Okay, and then speaking of Elmo, did you see the thing I sent you about Elmo?
Elmo said, fuck you.
Did you see it? The YouTube clip that I sent? It's Jordan Peterson talking about how bad Elmo is.
Was that deep faked? I know he was talking about the...
That was not a deep fake. That was an actual clip of Jordan. That's from his show. Jesus, do you not watch his show?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I do 14 shows a week.
You do 14 shows. That's true. That's a good point. So at least you got a valid excuse for it, for doing that.
But Jim Henson was funny back in the day, and Elmo, I think, was cute back in the day, but I think they've turned him into...
he says you have to be smoking pot to like Elmo, and I agree with him.
Elmo said, that motherfucker, I don't like him. He touched me in my happy zone.
Mm-hmm, exactly. That's because the whole damn puppet is one big happy zone.
Yeah.
Elmo's a dick.
News. That girl get my news. Elmo said, listen now.
Angry what news?
Angry fuck news. Emerald's guy, he's funny.
See, now that proves it right there. And I don't understand how you could do that voice without like getting physically ill.
that one's easy. I don't know why.
That's weird.
Yeah, the Elmo one. You can do that.
Mm-hmm. I can't. I've tried. I can't do the Elmo voice at all. And there was one more thing. Oh, it was one of the politicians there in Congress wants to ban the term illegal immigrants.
Well, they've been trying that for a while.
Derogatory term,
right?
Because he doesn't want immigrants who are here illegally described as illegal immigrants. I agree with him. I think we should go back to the classic traditional term of illegal alien, which more accurately describes people that are crossing over the border.
Well, what you call it doesn't really make as much of a difference as what you're doing about it. But this concept that, no, we have to call it people who are experiencing homelessness or people who are experiencing incarceration rather than convict. It's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This whole
minor attracted persons.
Yeah. We just have to just rephrase everything because that's going to make the world better. Rephrasing is going to make the world better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's called whitewashing for a reason.
Yeah, no kidding.
And if all these damn racists coming up with this new terminology of newspeak weren't trying to placate the evil that exists out there, we wouldn't have this problem. Like if you start calling evil, then evil can't be hiding in the shadows.
Right. Well, and this is the intriguing thing when it comes to the internet, because back again, when you and I were kids, if there was
in the 1930s,
if there was a sexual deviant child molester that was caught, I mean, granted, some didn't get caught.
Yeah.
But if they were caught, they
would usually drive a white van and have candy.
Yeah, or be my grammar school principal who got caught with
and have
Child
really
porn.
thick glasses.
He did too.
Yes. Yeah, that's a usual commonality amongst pedophilia is that they tend to have thick glasses.
Yeah. Some of us have really bad eyes and never got into
That
that.
has
But,
nothing to do with it.
it's very weird. But they had to sign up. They had to be on that registry, and everybody
Yeah,
knew.
they have to walk around the neighborhood and tell everybody that they're a registered pedophile. Yeah.
And they knew where they were, and you were able to
Mhm.
keep them separated from your children, or at the very least, you knew where they were.
And in fact, Arrested Development had a hilarious plot bit about that, where they were trying to sell homes in the neighborhood, and they realized that there's this whole demographic of men with good salaries who are unable to buy houses in most neighborhoods. So they just created a whole neighborhood for pedophiles.
Well, that was very nice. That's a very leftist thing to do.
Well, I mean, they didn't realize they were pedophiles, right?
Oh.
They just seemed like there seems to be this big demand for like there's a lot of these men that can't live in normal neighborhoods for some reason. So they're
And
focused
now,
on that. Yeah.
you know what
And then-
separates those people from everybody else on the internet?
What's that?
Nothing.
No, I'll tell you what separates them. Anonymous access.
Well, right.
Ooh.
Correct. And that
Mhm.
is, again, the scary part of that from anybody that believes in keeping some form of anonymity, because I think that is important. It's so easy to go right down that, for the children, we need to make sure that this can't happen. So we need everybody. And there's a big difference, I think, between, you sit down at any device that can access the internet. Before you can get any bits and bytes, you have to verify yourself with your ID, however the system would work. That is way different than, do you want to use X and have a verified account? Well, then you have to verify your ID. Way different from the minute you sit down at a computer. I just want to go on and see what the weather is. Well, we need to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Way different. But when it comes to...
I don't know if I would agree with doing it for all of the internet, but certainly
social media sites. But see, now with the kids that would be the other thing, because you could very easily have, the parents would have to set the kids up on the social media site because the kids can't do it because it's illegal to take their fucking information right off the bat. So, I mean, there's really the two choices would be keep the kids off the internet. And for whatever reason, that seems to be thrown out by every parent like, well, then their friends are going to ostracize them because everybody else is doing it. And it's like, yeah. But remember when we were kids, when we would tell our parents, hey, we want to go to we want to go to this concert, man. And they'd be like, no. And you'd be like, well, everybody else is doing it. And they're like, hey, if everybody else jumped off a bridge, would you? When did it become everybody else is doing it is the excuse parents are fucking using to giving their kids the fucking internet?
Yeah, it's a bad call all the way around. I totally agree with it. But I think, again, the issue is not that the internet shouldn't have anonymous access. It's that private companies, whether it's Instagram or X or whatever, I think should make their own decisions about whether they want to have adult conversations. And I mean, not like, maybe that's the bad word to use. What I mean by adult conversations, they should have conversations that aren't 4chan conversations on there, that aren't just a bunch of shit talking. And if they do, then I think it's a good idea to enforce having no anonymous access available, that people have to actually demonstrate who they are before getting access, because civility is the result of lack of anonymity. I mean, that's just reality. If you want to have civility, then people have to be held accountable for what they say and what they do. Now, you can't hold anonymous access people responsible.
Right.
Because you don't know who they are.
But you can't take personal information from children. So let's just imagine that you're creating Gene.social, the place for kids. And wow, that sounds creepy. And
that's creepy.
We want a social media, because some of these places have tried this. Instagram, I think, tried to do Instagram for kids and all that.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to actually go, okay, how do we keep the adult perverts away from the kids in a safe social media
really easy.
platform?
Don't give the kids accounts.
Right. That's the only way to do it because the concept.
So I could totally have Gene's Social for Kids where we deny access to every application.
Right.
That would solve the problem.
A lot less server capacity would be needed.
We need one server.
It'll just hum along.
Thank you for applying. Unfortunately, you do not meet the criteria required to be on here. Goodbye.
But this is why it is such a fool's errand to think the government can somehow legislate this, or companies like TikTok or Meta, whatever it is now, that all of these places can come up with a way that will keep children safe. It's impossible.
It is impossible. You can't do it. You can't let a kid into a movie theater playing pornos and then say, yes, but we're only letting them roam the hallways.
Oh, wow. Look what that guy's doing with that cow.
It's Jesus. You immediately go to bestiality. That's great. That's awesome.
It was an old Brad Meyer.
I told you Elmo was evil.
It was a Brad Meyer bit. He did a voice called Roger, though, which was very similar kind of to Elmo. But he has a song called Moo Moo, I Love You, which was great, about a guy that got caught fucking a cow.
And he was in the Middle East, was he?
No, Wisconsin. And
the
guy, the little kid's like, oh, wow, look at that. What's that guy jumping up on that cow for? Yeah. You will never forget that. But you can't do it because, one, kids aren't able to have dedicated accounts with all of their information because, one, at this point in the United States anyway, it's illegal to track this information from children. And the interesting thing would be the only way, if you were to do a system like this, which still wouldn't work, would be to do exactly the opposite of what the current law is, which is you can't take any personal identifying information from children because you would have to do just that to know that they were children.
Yeah, and the reason you can't do that has less to do with them being children, with the fact that they don't actually belong to themselves. They belong to their parents.
Yes.
So it's really like a child can't do that without parental consent.
Correct, which takes me to the other thing. If you had a 15-year-old son or daughter, and the only way to get on the social media site that kids are protected is to have you create the account and then have the ability to access and monitor, do you think any kid would use it? No.
Well, we know that they would just move on to a different platform like TikTok.
Right. And say they're older.
Or Omegle, which finally got shut down. Omegle was probably one of the worst.
Well, I'm not even sure what that one was.
Omegle was basically like chat roulette.
Oh, okay.
It's where you would type in something that you like, and it would find other people that typed the same thing in. And then you would have, you'd be connected with your video cameras to each other.
Yeah,
the idea being that's like, I like the Braves. I'm also a fan of the Braves, and then it would connect you and you could talk about the sports team. Well, instead, it's more like, I like candy. I like children and give them candy. and that's kind of what Omegle was. It was like a big cesspool of really, really questionable content. A lot of the stuff that I watched on there originally, I've never actually been to Omegle, but I've seen YouTube videos that people have made of themselves being on Omegle. And one of them was one of the AI generated hot looking chicks that I think I've sent you some of these before.
Oh, the one that is like using the sensors. So when she moves around.
Yeah. So it's real time AI 3D, or it's not even AI, but it's basically real time 3D generated character. And then, being on that platform where naturally people are very surprised and want to know more, and they are shocked to see.
They're like, wait, you're actually a female?
It looks like a video game, and they're actually usually not, but it looks like a video game, but it's in real time. So it's like a video game responding to you and talking to you in real time. But what you see immediately is that most of the people on Omegle, there's two types. There's the clearly under 21-year-olds, so through college, but no older than college. Most of them are probably 14, 15, 16. And then you have the 50-somethings, and they're all men.
Well, yeah. And they're looking for those 18, 19.
And they're all into things like Taylor Swift and, it's the stuff the kids like. They're into all the same things, but they're all these 50-something-year-old men. And it's like fucking creepy as hell. And
Yeah, and I did appreciate whoever it was during No Agenda the other day when they were going through the Taylor Swift op and they're like, oh, yeah, she's got, 500 million female fans or something. And somebody in the troll room was like, and Darren O'Neill.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, but you know what my odds are? If there's 500 million chicks and me?
Yeah.
Still zero.
Except I think that's not the right. I don't think that's quite the right demographic. I'll bet you there's at least 1 million of you.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah. Because so somebody else was talking. It was one of the YouTube / Twitch gamer dudes who is his name's Asmongold, and he makes a lot of videos on YouTube. He's interesting in that he is a multimillionaire because of his streaming, but he still lives basically in a shitty little house in Texas here that he grew up in. And like is super cheap. Like he does not spend money. One of his famous videos is how to cook a $2 steak.
Hire an $18 hooker?
No.
To cook it for you.
No. And his place looks completely messy. And it just looks like nothing's changed, even though he's now worth millions of dollars. And on there, one of the videos that he had, wait, I'm losing my train of thought. What we're talking about
steaks, cheap hookers.
No, before that, about before hookers, about creepy people. Oh yeah. So he said he was talking about somebody asked him about his fans, right? Somebody. He says, you know what it is? It's 50-year-old guys. And he says, yeah, it's you wouldn't think this would be the case, but every time I hear somebody say Asmongold, I turn around and I look, it's a dude with a gray beard standing next to his wife. Hey, honey, I'll be right back. I just want to say hi to this YouTube guy. And then they want to come and take a photo with him. And they're all like his parents' age.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, I think, true a lot more than people realize, that for a lot of these online streamer types, they have a surprisingly, and maybe it shouldn't be surprising, but I think it is surprising, number of, adult, like 40, 50, 60-year-old people that are watching them.
Well, YouTube is for that older demographic now, it seems.
Yeah, but even if you look at Twitch,
true,
not to say that there aren't younger people on Twitch, but I think that there's a...
Well, here would be my question for you. Does the younger generation, do the younger generations, do they have the attention span? Because Twitch is long form. It's like our show. It can go on for hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of times 3-4 hours. Yeah.
And I think a lot of these younger generations, they're so used to watching TikTok. They're like, wait, this fucking show's more than 90 seconds.
I think you might be onto something. I've never heard anybody mention that, but I think that sounds like it may very well be the reason, is because watching a streamer on Twitch is long form. Like you're going to be on that stream for hours, not minutes.
And that says a lot about what's going on, I think. It's like we want long form content, which is why the demographics would kind of make sense. People that
there's like 60 people listening to it right now.
Yeah, people would normally, you and I, there were back in the day, there were some of these television shows that were only a half hour long that had a 90 fucking second theme song.
Oh, it was horrible.
And it's like, now it's like, that's the whole content. The theme song, that's the whole show.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I always took it as an insult when the opening credits took too long.
Uh-huh. You're like, I'm like, to the show.
You only have half an hour, okay? And out of that, you're going to lose like 7 minutes to commercials.
Branding,
so
baby.
You have 23 minutes. Don't waste a minute and a half on the same goddamn openings every time.
Yeah, at least change it. Make it something interesting.
Well, change it, or just do a 10-second opening, 15-second opening, and then start the story.
Yeah, get to the stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I think we were so quick to adopt to the Netflix originally, even HBO before Netflix model of variable length episodes that had more to do with the story than they did with trying to fit into a time.
And let's just remember when DVDs came out where you could buy the whole series on DVD.
Oh, yeah.
You could just skip the fucking intro. That was also a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
And before we run out of time, we do have a few people to thank for today. February, it's very weird. Very, very weird in February. People are donating.
All right.
There were none for a Grumpy Old Ben's this week. So that was a double-edged sword for, I had a stomach flu and I'm like, not one donation. I'm like, so you think I'm going to work sick? Nope.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to help donate, if you want to not help donate, if you want to help support the show.
You want to try donating for a try?
Yeah, try donating for a try. Go to unrelenting.show. You can click that donate button. I think I still need to add all the QR codes. I'm like, I never really even added a donate page to the show because we were always just like, well, who's ever going to give money?
I don't think you ever did. I don't think you ever wanted donations is what I seem to remember.
Well, I didn't want to split anything with you because you're a multi-billionaire.
That's true.
And I'm like, Gene, it'd be the tax implications of even
I'm
one.
Like the Poncho Tycoon.
Yes, the Poncho Tycoon of Austin. That's how people know. When he's down on the border, you'll just watch CNN tonight. They'll have an interview with Gene and it'll say Poncho Tycoon of Austin, Texas. Will. That would be fantastic. But coming in number one today, $51.99 from Sir Old IT Guy, which I'm guessing he's in that 50 to 60.
Old IT Guy. Holy shit. That's like half the people listening.
Yeah. So that's the perfect name for listening to this show.
Great.
Sir Old IT Guy, $51.99. And he says, Unrelenting is growing on me. So, I mean, like I said, only 102 episodes.
We're just like mold.
It's like that first 100 episodes didn't take.
Yeah.
101.
Now,
boom.
He's starting to get it. Yeah.
It's coming around. And our buddy Weenie Wawa came in with a $10.80.
Nice.
And I think that's a new monthly. That is appreciated. And Kevin Seifert, that's a $5 monthly. That is appreciated. And of course, the $4.50 in the Bitcoin money. The
Bitcoins, yes.
Yes, the Bitcoin must be going up a little because it's down. It's 10,500 today from CSB. And he had no note.
Yeah. Which, we'll just point him at either his X account where he has at CSB.
Right. Of course he had a note. It was a joke. Didn't you get that?
No.
The CSB, well, you think CSB ever donated without a note?
Without a note? No. Well,
he says, howdy, comrades.
How do I get a hold of him? That's all.
Well, maybe should I do it in the Elmo voice? Would that make him happy?
Oh, God, no.
Howdy, comrades, Gene and Darren. Please make sure to follow CSB on X, formerly known as Twitter. That's just 3 simple letters to remember. CSB.
Literally what I just said, man. Without even a prompt.
You have it memorized.
I have it memorized, yeah. Because he actually talks to me on X, which is...
Well, because now you're only on X. You're not on the Fediverse. I tag you on X.
Yeah. When you need something retweeted, you tag me, yeah.
I'm like, here, go to listen to them good old boys show. Yeah. Don't forget to check out CSB's blog, though, at www.csb.lol. Yo, CSB. No, I mean, now that you're not on the Fediverse, I mean, the whole thing feels different.
It is.
Now that No Agenda Social was locked up and Bemrose got fucked in the ass because Aaron didn't tell anybody he was going to limit posting. It's like, how about if you're going to fucking make all of these changes?
What do you mean limit posting?
He fucking turned posting off. So it's
what does that mean?
You can no longer post messages. If you have that No Agenda Social account and you haven't moved, you can no longer post as No Agenda Social. But just like he fucking didn't tell anybody any of this shit was happening.
Just took the whole thing down.
No, it's been there because people still need to migrate out. But the fucking system sucks because I couldn't even transfer my fucking followers because his fucking server fucking melted fucking down and wouldn't let the fucking followers come off the fucking server. And then it takes 30 fucking days to fucking do it fucking again. And I'm like,
so Ben gave me shit. He's like, dude, why didn't you transfer all your followers from there to my account?
It's a good question.
I'm like, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I guess I could have.
You still could, unless you deleted the account, although it may fail. And then you have to wait 30 days because he can't figure out how to reset the 30-day. You can only move an account on Mastodon. This is a Mastodon thing.
Yeah.
You can only do it once every 30 days. And if that borks, then you have to wait 30 days, which seems like an eternity.
Here's my thing with Mastodon is that I moved to Mastodon because my Twitter account got banned.
Yes.
And
you needed some place to go and spread your crazy theories.
I'm an extrovert. And so either I'm talking or I'm typing, one or the other.
Sometimes
both.
Yeah. I do this show. I've heard both at the same time.
And I've posted like four tweets while we're doing the show. And that's the thing, is like, that was a place to go and people started following me, but again, not really interacting all that much. But, the thing that I had to put up with that I didn't enjoy about Mastodon is the completely disproportionate amount of pro-Nazi tweets. And I don't care if they're just doing it for funsies.
Pushing buttons.
Pushing buttons, doing whatever. Here's the thing. I just, like, there's a reason I don't go to comedy clubs, because most comedians suck. I don't need to waste any portion of my life on things that aren't interesting. And a lot of the people that post a lot of content on the Fediverse are not interesting. And I find that right now, after Musk took over and a whole shit ton of liberals left X,
the
they
content's
left Twitter,
better.
and they're not on X at all. One, they don't want to pay for a blue check mark. And two, they hate Elon Musk, and therefore they don't want to be on his platform.
Right. And not only that, they want it, but they don't want to pay for it. And then they can't even wrap their brains around what little amount it is to get it. These fucking multi-millionaires, sometimes billionaires.
And you want to pay $7 a month.
Yeah. And the only reason they got it before was because of their political views. And that literally was the only reason. And so right now, I actually kind of feel like X is a cleaner platform to be on. That doesn't have all the people that I need to keep constantly banning the way that I did on Mastodon.
So you're saying less liberals, more moderation, better content.
I don't even know if there's more moderations. There's definitely less liberals, and if you can click to limit your views to only people with blue check marks, or I guess they're not even blue. You can get other colored check marks if you give even more money. So it's just a variable sliding scale.
So you're like, I want the diamond check mark, please.
I want the gold check mark. Yes. Give me the platinum check mark.
China can't
but I think
gold.
that works well, because it is a way to have a choice of who you're going to be exposed to. And I think that's a good thing, because the idea of the Fediverse was a good idea. Unfortunately, the majority of the people that adopted it were not the people that I care to partake of their content.
And I am intrigued.
It's mostly, the number of people that would be on board with no agenda types of politics is a tiny, tiny fraction of the people that are on the Fediverse. The vast majority of people on the Fediverse are either ultra liberal or they really enjoy Nazi content. That's the two biggest groups.
Well, and what about this? This is new, this whole communities thing within, which kind of makes X a lot more like the Fediverse, No Agenda Social.
Yeah.
Because you can get your group of like-minded folks. This is very similar to being on a local server that only you can see these folks, and you can just go down that timeline.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. So if you want to be in a community, you have to be allowed to be let into the community. And right now, horrible. CSB is in charge of the No Agenda community.
Oh, this is a good one then. That's why I'm happy you and I are there. And
it's probably better that he's in charge, because if he wouldn't have started it, I probably would have started it 2 weeks later. And you can guarantee that a lot fewer people would be allowed in.
Instead of 154, it'd be like 3.
It'd be more than 3, but it'd probably be about 7, because something that I've said to a number of people, as far as any organization that I run, we start off by me firing everybody,
right?
And then I selectively rehire people back based on what I see them do and what they're going to commit to doing. But you have to start off, and this is my problem with Trump. He did not do this when he came into office.
He didn't clean the swamp.
Because I literally cleared the swamp in a lot of companies, and he should have done that in the U.S. government by getting into that position, and he failed to do that. And that's why I don't think he's very good at being president. He's very good at campaigning. He's very good at getting people motivated. But I mean, when you see Trump side by side with Vivek Ramaswamy, And I know people are always, it's Vivek.
Yeah,
well,
rhymes
you know
with
what?
cake.
Maybe Vivek should spell his name with an I then instead of an E if he wants it pronounced that way. Name should be phonetic.
Wow, so racist. Why
I
do you hate
changed
the
my
Indian
name to be
people?
phonetic. He can do the same. And so Trump didn't do that. But when you listen to them side by side, Trump talks about how things are horrible right now and things are going to be great. They're going to be the best ever. And that's where it stops. And Vivek talks about what the problem is right now and then what his solution is to change that, fire the entirety of the FBI, and then talks about the end result. It's like it's a much more clear, business-minded, here's the problem, here's the plan to address it, here's how we will know whether or not the plan worked, because here's the end condition we're trying to hit. I really do wish Trump would have done that in his first term. I don't have a whole lot of confidence he would do that in his second term.
Well, because the
and I
second
still
term is going
think
to be
the
about
Democrats are
retribution.
not going to let him win.
Well, they're going to do everything that they can because their fear would be if he gets in, they're all screwed. Because they know.
Which is, I think, a misguided fear because he's not going to do anything again.
Well, he can only do so much because when things are so deep rooted, it's very hard. And he only has 4 years. People are like 4 years is a long, long, long time. It's like, it's not. It is not that long of a time. I mean, remember January 6th and be like, oh shit, that's almost 4 years now. It doesn't, it's like this stuff, the legal system moves so slow.
Well, it seems like not very long time, but a lot of people that went to January 6th are sitting in prison for the next 20.
They feel like it's a long time. I mean, when you're just sitting in a jail cell, your time is going to feel like it's going a little, unless you have TikTok. Then you're probably just, a lot of millennials would probably be like, or Zoom or Zers, whatever they are now, probably be like, oh, well, jail? Do I keep my phone? Oh, well, that seems okay.
Well, they don't, but yes.
I know. Well, see, that should be it. You want to really scare the
you think phones
hell out
would
of these
just
kids?
Pacify the prison population to the point where they just don't want to leave?
No, but I'm thinking if you actually would put these people in jail and they'd be like, wait, I don't get my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. If you could really do that with half of these children that are problems, where you're like, well, you just literally will not have your phone for a month, 2 months, 6 months, they might get in line because they're so afraid to not be connected.
That's true. There's something to be said for that.
No Beret says Biden will win by at least 600 million certified votes. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Gene's going down to the border. So will he be back next week or will he be from a jail cell? Where would that be? Somewhere in Laredo? Or what if you get captured and they take you to Mexico?
Could happen.
People are like, wait, can we donate for this? Then it'll be on the Mexican news. How do you say poncho guy in Mexican?
In Mexican?
Yeah. I mean, that would be on the Mexican news.
Well, I mean, I think Pancho is actually Pancho.
Damn.
But
Pancho Senor.
Pancho Hombre?
Yeah, Pancho Hombre. There you go. Gene will be on Mexican radio.
Uh-huh. Yeah. El Jefe de Pancho?
El Jefe de Pancho. Yeah, I like it.
It's funny. Yeah. Yes, leave it up to an American dude to become the Pancho King of Mexico.